Wow, you guys are really staying with me through this. Okay, so here goes part 3. What would a 21st century American Civil War look like? I'm giving a full-on trigger warning. If you are sensitive or you get freaked out or overwhelmed really easily, maybe don't watch this post. Also, these are things that could happen. Possibly likely, but still it's not a definite. In the last Civil War, we lost 750,000 soldiers. In the new Civil War, we will not be conveniently costumed in blue and gray, which means that the fighting will be between people in civilian clothes, making it difficult to tell who is actually on which side, unless MAGA decides to fly flags. Because there will be no discernible front line and no uniforms, it's very possible a lot of people will be unalived by mistake. Also, Trump followers aren't the only people in the country with camouflage and hunting gear. These are the parts that I think we need to really think about, and I hope that the Republican Party actually really starts to think about, because I don't think any of us want to see this. Conventional modern amenities will be gone. Deliveries of foods, clothing, to pretty much everything. And electricity could be absent or coming in waves. He's referencing here things that he's seen in another country. He says, meanwhile, because refrigeration was not reliable, food shopping had to be done daily, and if fighting interrupted deliveries of fresh vegetables or canned foods to markets, there wasn't any food, sometimes for days, even weeks. And then he talks about the one thriving market there will be, which will be weapons and ammunition. And he says down here, if you don't have any, don't worry, they will be plentiful. He says that's the way that they usually begin. No one's prepared, but people get really good at catching up. He says in Lebanon they had 3 million people and 1 million left, so mass migrations. And that foreign nations might get involved. Which at first I was like, oh, that could be a good thing, and then I thought about it again, and it could not. He says both parties will try to control the military, but it won't go well for either party. It's just going to be a mess, and eventually they'll just sell off all their stuff, basically. And then he talks about how big of a role money will play in a new American Civil War. He says cities will become battlegrounds, but they'll also be the place where wealth and power are maintained. He says rural areas with empty land and not a lot of people will be less important. And then he goes into the aspect I've wondered the most about. He says perhaps the grimmest prospect of all will be the subwars that break out within the big Civil War. Every prejudice will be indulged. Racist whites will target black people. Fundamentalist Christians might target heathens like Muslims and Jews and non-fundamentalist Christians. Ethnic divisions will exist within the greater sides of the face-off. I'm adding on a part 4 to talk about what we can do to prepare. But one of the number one things we can do to prepare is knowledge. If we understand what they are doing, then we can start preparing, which is the whole purpose of my TikTok page.